Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Roberto Corona. I am an Italian anthroposopher and astrologer. And in this video, we're going to talk about the full moon in Aquarius taking place on August 1st. As always, you can see here an image of Archangel Uriel, since in anthroposophy, it is the Archangel ruling the summer season. Now let's take a look at the last changes in the sky, because as you can see here, we've reached Leo season, right? In fact, on July 23rd, the sun entered Leo. Here we go. And the same day, Venus turned retrograde, which is one of the most important processes of summer. So you can watch my video about it since it's very elaborate. Now, Mercury entered Virgo on the 29th here, and it is a very strong Mercury. We're going to talk about it since it is involved in the sygyzy. And remember that Mercury in Virgo is going to turn retrograde on August 23rd. So we're going to talk about that as well in a future video. So you want to subscribe to the channel not to miss out on that. Now, the first thing that really struck me when I was looking at this chart is the date, August 1st, because this sygyzy is taking place on Lammas, which is a pagan festival. And this is a festival also called the Festival of Bread that celebrates the harvest. And so this is interesting because the full moon is precisely that. We have the peak of the manifestation of the etheric forces represented by the harvest, right? And so it is like the perfect moment for this sygyzy to take place on this festival. Now, on top of that, from this window that goes from this full moon in Aquarius to the next new moon in Leo, we're going to have St. Lawrence night. This is, at least is the way we call that in Italy. Please let me know in the comments how you call that. It's August 10th, and it is basically the night of the shooting stars, where we have the Perseids, the meteor shower of the Perseids kicking in. And from an anthroposophical perspective, this moment is very, very important. And this falls under this these 14 days, right? And so why is it so important? Because we have this element of the cosmic iron that penetrates the etheric atmosphere of the Earth, creating this counterbalancing effect against the Ahrimanic impulses coming from below, from the forces that Steiner calls this forces of sulphur coming from below and really trying to dim our consciousness, right? So we have from the cosmos, from the gods, this counterbalancing process going on. And this is, again, quite appropriate because this is a full moon. So we know that a full moon is not only about the fulfillment of the manifestation of these etheric forces, right? Of course, it is a moment of retrospective where we shed light in the darkness, but it is also a moment of release and, above all, a moment of purification, right? So it's like we can, in this 14 days, we can create this space, this purified space, welcoming this impulse coming from the Perseids that are fighting against the Ahrimanic dragon. And this is going to accompany us towards the next new moon in Leo, taking place on August 16. Now, if we look at the chart, the full moon is taking place, here we go, at 9 degrees and 16 minutes Aquarius. And it is taking place in the starry image of Capricorn. And we're going to talk about that because this is a very spiritual constellation. Since this moon is in Aquarius, it is ruled by Saturn. As we know, Saturn is in Pisces. We talked about it in a dedicated video, so you can watch that to learn more about Saturn in Pisces. And what's interesting about this Saturn is that Saturn is making a partile opposition to Mercury at 5 degrees Virgo, meaning that this opposition is exact to the degree. Now, it's interesting also noticing that Mercury is placed between Mars and Venus. It's not making conjunctions with these planets because, well, it can be understood as a wide conjunction, but in my opinion, they're not creating a conjunction. They are far enough not to be a conjunction. However, it's like the cosmic mind represented by Mercury, placed in between the cosmic will represented by Mars, which is of course all about action, and Venus, which is the planet representing our value-given faculty, our choices, basically the choices that we make. And this is the first sygyzy that features Venus retrograde. This means that we're going to questioning them, to question our choices, what we value, and so on. And it's interesting because the mind, the intellect, the cosmic intellect represented by Mercury is standing still in between these two forces, waiting, so to speak, making this exact opposition towards Saturn. So let's now elaborate on that. What does it mean? So starting on a more physical, material level, it is a moment of retrospective. So it is the right moment to stop, to release, to let go, right? To shed light, to clarify the direction that we want to take. So on a material level, the suggestion would be to stop, right? And to create this space again. And this is especially true because the moon is in Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about new ideas, new projects. It is an air sign, which is about thinking. So meditating, creating this space where we can starting thinking about our new projects that we want to sow, or rather that we want to start manifesting with the full moon in Leo of August 16, right? And these impulses being in Aquarius, these ideas can also be quite revolutionary, right? Because we know that the forces of Aquarius are like that. And of course, on a more soul psychological level, as we said, it is a moment for purification. But what kind of purification? Because this is, again, an air sign, and it is about our mind. So we're talking here about a purification of thinking, a purification of our mind. And what does it mean? It means to have clear thoughts, clear ideas, clear projects. And this is especially true if we think that the sygyzy is ruled by Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn, here we go, this is Saturn, is all about discipline and really try to cope with these chaotic emotional forces represented by Pisces. We can say that definitely this is a pretty cold moon for being summer, right? And this purification involves the forces of the mind, because not only because the sygyzy is taking place in an air sign, but also because Saturn is in partile opposition to Mercury. And of course, Mercury is in Virgo. And what's that? It is a mind aimed towards focusing on planning, scheduling, realizing practical, concrete ideas. And this means that the seeds of the moon in Aquarius are quite realistic, concrete. They are achievable. And in fact, Saturn leads us to getting rid of all our illusions and being clear about what we can or cannot do. Now, on a more spiritual level, of course, the theme of the purification of thinking, of thoughts, is quite spiritual, right? And again, this is given by the fact that Saturn and Mercury, when they work together, they are forces of the mind, because on the one hand, Saturn represents rationality. And on the other, we have Mercury, which is the intellect, right? So this spiritual theme of purification can be aligned with a spiritual process, which again is the iron coming from the cosmos, helping us counterbalancing the sulphur and the chaos tendency that the Ahrimanic forces bring from below. So we have here Pisces, that is definitely chaotic, in a way disciplined by the forces of Saturn, and the sygyzy is accompany us through this moment when from above, from the cosmos, we're going to receive this ferrum sidereum, this cosmic iron. Now, the most spiritual image of this chart is given by the stereo image of Capricorn, which is here. And this is because in astrosophy, this constellation is connected to the forces of gnosis, that are forces of knowledge of the higher worlds. They are also connected to spiritualism for this reason, and they are connected to the forces of the highest spiritual hierarchy, the choir of the seraphim, the spirits of love. So imaginatively, we can represent Capricorn as this being that extends with very long horns, which can be pictured as almost horns of light upwards that connects us to divinity. But on the other hand, with the fishtail of the fish goat, it extends downwards as well towards the depths of our being. So this means that these new ideas or ideals of Aquarius, moon in Aquarius, can draw on these heights to be inspired by the spiritual world to bring about the change that we want to bring down on Earth. So thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell not to miss out on future astrological insights. I am Roberto Corona. See you in the next video.